What's up, my friends? Martial arts in the car, Matt in the car with me, Matt from TRITAC. How are you? Beautiful Monday in Connecticut. So today's topic, the worst martial artists are martial artists. Huh? You like that one? A little clickbaity, but let me explain what I mean. So, there are many people who have experienced martial arts in some capacity in their lifetime, and when those people, myself included, I'm guilty of this. When those people experience another martial art, sometimes it's hard for them to remove preconceived notions. I don't want to say bad habits, different habits, and things that may be a little out of date. I don't want to say out of date, but let's say out of practice, okay, or out of realism. And sometimes those martial artists can be very challenging to teach. It's like someone being in a cult and having like to rewire their brain to like reality. So if you are new to this channel or new to this series, Matt in the Car, basically it is a live, not live, we do live, but this is a unedited one take. I'm driving to the TRITAC Training Center in Cromwell, Connecticut to get our Monday night grappling and jiu-jitsu sessions and combative sessions going. And I like to do these episodes as I'm driving in to keep myself, or prepare myself for tonight's awesome adventures in martial arts. So, past few days I've had these experiences. We've been getting a lot of new people visiting. I've been advertising. It's great. I'm really loving the energy, the people coming in, and just getting some really good variety of people. I just love martial arts. I love the diversity in martial arts, and it's so cool. And I even can look out on the floor or the day, and any sort of time, and it's just diversity. That's just so cool. It's just all shapes, sizes, backgrounds, history, ethnicities, histories, ages. It's just cool. It's just really cool. So I have a couple little bit older guys lately who have some martial arts experience, and it's sometimes tough. And this, at least this is what I'm feeling from them, and maybe, I don't want to put words in their mouth or feelings in their mouth. This is what I feel from them, that they had did a lot of training before, and oh Jesus, kid, scary, and a lot of traditional based training that, even if it was rooted in combatives or self-defense or karate or something like that, that if you trained, I would say up till about, early, if you stopped training before, let's say 2005, like really when the internet really started making a huge influence in martial arts. If you stopped training around then I believe martial arts was like, it was hard to find the real, let's put it that way, right? And taking it from someone who hunted literally all over the state of Connecticut. I know Connecticut is not a big state, but it's big enough that I can't, it takes hours, Texas will take days to drive across, but it still takes me many hours, let's say, to drive across this state. So, but I hunted the state in many different directions for martial arts, great martial arts training, and was lucky to find Japanese jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, American kickboxing, boxing. Then it was Islam. Well, he was American kickboxing, but his blend of jiu-jitsu was more small circle, Wally J. Doesn't matter. Point being, I hunted all around for the state for good training, and back then, if you didn't have the, let's say, the internet, the uses of the internet, or you just didn't know, you went to your local school, it was tough to decipher what was real and what was not. And add the mysticism or the aura that sometimes martial arts can present, and it's tough, especially if you got a martial arts master or someone who's got all this experience. I trained with this guy from this descendant. Back in the day, spewing those things out were like, it was a big deal, and still to this day, guys who are probably in their 50s and above, well, I trained with this guy, we did this and this and this, and it's like, I feel bad when they expect me to know this person, and it's just it's kind of hard sometimes, because they're not. I am a dime a dozen. There are countless of people in the world, martial artists who have my experience or better, plain and simple. I've seen them. And the only difference, they don't get in front of a fucking camera and talk to you. You know what I mean? It's reality, that's it. But I would argue, though, people might experience, I think I am lucky enough, or a little bit of an oddball, where we have such an amazing training center and community around it. So I believe that's like a difference of ours. So there's definitely people my knowledge, or each of the people's knowledge in our overall core team. But in general, like there's thousands of quality martial artists around the world. So it's tough when you say, oh, do you know this guy? I'm like, well, no, but it doesn't mean he's a bad martial artist. Doesn't mean he's a great martial artist either. Doesn't mean, his whatever his background isn't great, all that type of stuff. But I think where I haven't got to talk about training the worst martial artists yet, but where these notions of confusion come when you're getting introduced to a new martial art, or introduced to something that is different than what you've done before. It can be challenging for both that person and the person trying to help them to go through that, let's call it, transition. And I use the word like cult-like earlier, because sometimes you have to break not only like bad habits, but like false beliefs. You know what I mean? And that's sometimes tough. So I actually wrote real quick notes about this, and because I wanted to, it's been on my mind lately. And so there's two things I would say that I fix the kind of most when, or talk about the most when I am dealing with a student who's coming to us for the first time and they have done some martial arts training before. First, was without doubt, would be like structure, and more like defensive structure. Most martial artists tend to have this background and they understand distance and all that, but they tend to have this like, it's almost, not everybody, it's not Wing Chun, but it'd be like our fence concept, but like very like soft, very like, and it's almost like it sends the wrong, it's like you're putting yourself on the back foot, you're actually more exposed than you think, but it's this very common thing. Another common thing is stance and like overall presentation of footwork, where even though we get, you put your right foot back if you're right-handed, blah, 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 and of course there's a guy up. I'll absolutely do a video someday on the number of times I've been told that they're ambidextrous. Well, I could fight, blah, 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 and that's such a rarity. The only time people are truly ambidextrous is like, I think when you're a lefty, you get used to living in a right-handed world. Another topic. But a lot of times even though like their stance is it's just no one spent time with them talking about a stance. No one spent time with them talking about core footwork. No one spent time with them talking about like getting hit in the fucking head and making sure your hands are in the right position. But they do spend time on the forms and the fancy like sequences and all that. And it may look cool on a unresisting opponent, or may look cool in theory that you can do all these things. Excuse me. But in reality, most of what they've done is going to give them an edge against a completely uneducated, unathletic person. The problem is, most of the people that are forcing others to use violence and use like to defend themselves are bad people. They're not like you're just regular fucking, I don't know, just kid who's having a bad day. Like, people who wish to do others harm are like typically like very violent, very aggressive. And because they're violent and aggressive, they like to fight. And that's like a thing to be aware of. And that's why I like MMA a lot as a study of combat, because you're seeing like really aggressive combat in a very real form. You can watch street fights. You can't see it on YouTube anymore. It's kind of, they change algorithm and all that. But you can see them on like Instagram. They show a lot of that stuff, and at least it pops up in my feed. Cause I'll be honest, I just like seeing how people think and fight. You know what I mean? I don't like. It's not a making fun of thing. It's not a like a I don't know. Like, I like watching street fights. So I just like, it's just interesting, how human behavior is in the heat of combat. And I think that's why I firmly believe what we do is correct. And I'm not saying there aren't better ways. I'm not saying our approach to modern martial arts won't get better, because that's the fucking point. But I believe that since you can just look, like, study combat, study real violent, unruled, no rules combat, and you'll see why we do certain things. Study, like, the highest levels of MMA or boxing or kickboxing. You'll see why we do certain things. Study jiu-jitsu and rolling. You'll see why we do certain things, right? So, again, there's always going to be room to get better. But because of those truths that we can explore, I mean, they're not scripted. They're just fighting. Like, you can see what works and what doesn't. And that's what I think sometimes I have to almost, like, deal with. I feel like I have to, like, here, it says this, you know what I mean? Funny, complete side note, and I doubt they'll ever listen to this, but I'm not going to name company names. Okay, how's this? All right. So I worked for a company right before I opened the gym. In fact, I left that company, and I also got a consulting gig, and so I opened my first gym. It was kind of even though I stopped working full-time, it really kind of was working full-time for a while. So when I left this company, I was a director of marketing, and at the end, it's kind of my personality. I like a lot of different things, so I got really into, like, marketing and development and design and copy and all those things, and SEO. Like, I'm just a nerd. At the end of the day, I'm just a huge nerd, and I like to be involved in a lot of different things, and internet really excites me, especially marketing. So I was director of marketing, but we were really heavily focused on internet marketing. Long story short, even though I was a director, I had the owner of the company was my boss, and he had made me basically fire 2/3 of my staff over a course of maybe 6 months to a year, because he wanted to sell the company as well as he thought I could just do everything. So our relationship had been getting very, 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 very strange. And it was the first time in my life when we were actually getting prepared to sell the company, and that's when I just made my exit, because I didn't want to work for the new company, even though I had an offer. But I was showing him numbers, like hard truths. You can't refute these things. These things are tried and true. We can look them up. We can see it. We can see every single reason why these numbers exist. And he's arguing. He's like, no, they're wrong. I know. But I'm like, not say his name. Like, I mean, I never yelled at a grown man like I used to have to yell at this guy. Like, you might learn by my personality. I tend to have, like, I don't give a fuck views or point. If I've given you every opportunity to have a conversation, to be nice, I'll hear your point of view. I think I'm very good at being understanding of other people's things and concerns and all that. But there comes a point every man has to be like, dude, what the fuck? Enough. I'm done with this shit. And, like, you know, and I would have to have these arguments. I remember leaving. I used to go train right after. I used to drive down the Danbury for BJJ with Luigi Mondelli. And oh my God, like, I just remember being so angry by the time I got there. Of course, after jiu-jitsu training, you feel like a new man, alive again. I keep forgetting not to take 91 for all those who know. This construction right near my exit is just killing me. So, you know, back to this, like, false truths, you know, or false beliefs that a lot of times it's hard, even though you tell them, you know, why it exists and what, you know, what the point of it. It's sometimes hard for them to almost believe it and get out of their, like, preconceived, you know, notions of combat. And, you know, I don't want to make anybody feel bad. I never want to put someone in a situation where it's like, oh, what you learned is wrong and this is right. But sometimes it's almost like you're kind of forced to do that. Bruce Lee always said it best, you know, be water, my friend, empty your cup. You know, and I always took that, even though, you know, Bruce Lee was one of my huge influences when I first started martial arts. But the idea of, like, you know, emptying your cup was always a big deal to me. And I really like that, you know, forever white belt. That I can always learn. I do everything. I force and try to learn every single day and keep my mind open to new understandings and possibilities. And I don't care who it's from. You know, it's kind of crazy. If you study martial arts, especially on the jiu-jitsu side, of course there's the Donners out there, the Gordon Ryans, the Craig Jones, all those guys. And their instructions are freaking phenomenal. Like, I would argue without a doubt some of those have greatly changed, like, the nature of modern jiu-jitsu and combat. But the more you kind of look on the internet and see around, like, you'll see, like, guys, just regular jiu-jitsu guys like me or others all over the world who have, like, a Instagram page or a YouTube channel, and, like, there's just quality shit. Like, these, like, so many people are so creative in combat. Same thing with MMA and striking and boxing. Like, there's just so much quality and creativity out there that it's just cool. It makes me, like, almost, like, jealous. Like, oh shit, I wish I understood the way he does, you know. And that's just so. I kind of speaking a little bit to the older martial artists now who have some experience, and you're willing to maybe get back into it or branch out into something else. First, I respect you, because that is hard. I know, man. It's not easy just walking into a new place and yeah, like, strapping on that white belt, especially if you've done something before. Oh, it's even worse for jiu-jitsu guys who are coming back from, like, injury or just trying to get back into art and they haven't done it in a long time, and now they've got to, like, try to be the person that they were before, but not be the person they were before, because they are not, and they'll get injured if they try to be. It's a weird, like, duality times two. I don't know, duality times whatever. It just fucks with your head. But if you are coming back to something new, let me kind of do the best I can to help you out a little bit. One, slow it down. There's no rush. So when you are learning something new, don't feel like you're obligated to be good. I guarantee you the person who is working with you is not judging you, even though I completely understand you want to perform for the, like, you know, you want to be, you look good in front of the person who's helping you, and you want to get positive feedback. If you ever in my place, the positive feedback's gonna happen all the time, because you showed up, you had the balls to walk in the door and try something. I understand that. That's fucking cool, you know. And, you know, our feedback's is real feedback. Sometimes you do it good, sometimes it sucks. That's just life, you know. But that's what's cool about martial arts and life. You get to do it again. Well, not life, but, like, you fuck up. You know, I don't know. You have a bad day at work and you screw something up. Well, guess what? Tomorrow is work again. You know, you fuck up a technique, you don't get it right. Guess what? Next time you have another opportunity. So there's no, like, rushing it. And if you can remind yourself of that, bring yourself back to the moment when martial arts was fresh and new and exciting to you, and you had no expectations. You didn't have any belts or backgrounds as an influence. You were able to just kind of live in the moment and be, you know. So slow down, be in the moment, and then, like, it's hard to say just listen, but yeah, sometimes the answer is just listening and asking questions. If you try to compare what you've done before with what you're trying to learn or go through in that moment, it's like you're fighting yourself. You know what I mean? Just who cares about what you did before? You know what I mean? You know, you're just learning a new skill or someone else's approach. There have been tons of times in my career I've been with martial artists that are like, you know what, I just don't really agree with, or like, you say you're forced to be in a seminar, or forced to be not forced, but you're part of something with other, like, professional martial artists. If you know me well enough, I hate master. The word master, expert sounds weird to me, because, I don't know, white belt for life, right? That concept. But I've been in these situations before when people are showing something and it's just like, no, I don't believe it. It's an internal thing. I don't believe it. It's like, yeah, no. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. And I believe we all have that little kind of, like, factor in us. But let's say that person's teaching and I'm part of that receiving group of the person who's getting the technique. Like, I'm going to shut up, listen, and if I can even ask an intelligent question, I will. Maybe there's something in that concept that I was missing. Maybe there was a secret sauce, a golden nugget that's in there that I needed to tease out. So I always try to ask a question, no matter what I'm learning. If I could see something that piques my curiosity or interest, like, or a piece of footwork or movement that maybe that, what was that it there? Was that the golden nugget? Was that the thing that was gonna unlock it? Make it make sense to me a little bit? Then I'll try to find it. You know what I mean? I've literally been in rooms where dudes like stepping on another person's toe and went into the depth about how to step on the toe, like, and how to use it. I'm like, cool, bro, you stepped on his foot and you punched him. Like, what am I missing? No, how you control the toenail. I mean, literally, dude. Literally, this guy, I actually think no, I probably don't have it on video. Maybe somewhere it exists on video. I don't think so anymore. If you guys know a lot of my old tapes from going back to the late 90s to probably up to 2020 or whenever I stopped using mini DVs and went to, no, more, less than 2020, probably 2015, 2016, I went all digital. All those tapes and videos are gone. That's sad. Life. So, lastly, even though it's not lastly, we still got another 5 minutes. I'm going to continue talking today. And that's what we do. It's a live thing. You know it's not live. You get my point. All right. So, another thing was footwork. And this is the big thing across all martial artists. There is no more important thing that you can learn as a martial artist than footwork. And all martial artists out there, let me give you a big cheat code and almost like a begging of you. Like, study boxing footwork. It's just, the structure and the science of footwork and movement are all right there. In fact, it's not just footwork, it's like body mechanics with footwork that are in boxing that are really just, if you understand some of those core, like, fundamental movement patterns, I swear to you, it'll make your jiu-jitsu better, your like kickboxing better, whatever your weapons fighting better, you have a better understanding. Now, the only caveat I'm gonna say about boxing footwork compared to what we would do, not do, is a stance. We almost like, a TRITAC, the angle, the power of threes everywhere. And, when we're thinking about stance, it is like, I'm at almost a 45-degree angle. We don't want to be flat to our opponent. We want to be too far in line. The more linear we are, the easier we are for leg kicks and takedowns. The more flat we are, easier we are for like midline attacks, or obviously takedowns as well. So point being, sunglasses put away. I'm blinded there. Point being, that the stance would be a little bigger in the TRITAC system, very similar to what you see, not very similar, almost exactly what you see in MMA, where you're in a stance that can account for striking or boxing or hand strikes for takedown defense, as well as kicks and all that. So, very, very cool. For the MMA guys out there, who just fought? Sean Brady fought. Man, I forgot who he fought this weekend off the top of my head. But it's really interesting. This kid, his jab was just a thing of beauty. But because Sean Brady's a phenomenal wrestler or takedown artist. Sick Japanese jiu-jitsu tattoos, or Japanese tattoos. And man, I can't remember the guy's name he fought against. Whatever, but this kid's stance and structure were so sound, so clean, that even DC kept like talking about it. It's like he was so prepared for like what was gonna happen and just very aware of everything. I love the way he fought. He looked so like present, aware, and prepared. Very, very, very cool to see. But it's a stance he brought there. So for you new martial artists, you guys are getting back something new, and especially if you're doing like anything boxing related, striking related, even it doesn't really matter. Work on some core skills, work on your footwork, work on your movement. If it's jiu-jitsu related, listen, develop a really good technical stand-up, shrimp, bridge, turtle get-ups. Work your escapes. The submissions will be there, I promise you. The sweeps will be there, you'll get them. But if you watch a lot of modern jiu-jitsu, most of like those things that like the transition is where a lot of the fights are won and lost. You know what I mean? It's, you know, you use escape to get an underhook, and that underhook turns out to coming into dogfight, and dogfight you end up getting a knee pick and take his back or take him down. You know what I mean? So it's like you didn't get to do that if you didn't go through your escape process first, right? So learning just good movements, good like overall like body mechanics as a newer martial artist, or martial artist is coming back to try something new. Like those things will dramatically change the way you fight. It is 4:01. We are 1 minute late due to 91 traffic. It's been awesome hanging out with you guys. Thank you again. Matt in the car, martial arts training in the car.